All right, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all glory and praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem HaKodash, the honors to the apostles, and the elders of great millstone, honors and salutations to the hopeful elect, pushing his word in truth and sincerity. This is the brother Tawab Kha from GMS Los Angeles / Inland Empire. Come back with another video in the spirit. And once again, Tawadi Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai for opening my eyes to his truth, allowing me to wake up another day and putting the spirit on me to do another lesson in hopes that edifying the hopeful elect. Okay, so in this video, I'm going to title it, The Straight Gate is the Only Way. Okay, and I'm going into this because we always have to remind, and reiterate these things, because being in this world, on a daily basis, we face a lot of, there's times we face heavy obstacles, that may vary from one brother to the next, right? And sometimes, being in this world, you can lose track of things. You can lose track. Okay, and that's why we always say these scriptures are a navigation. This is what keeps us on the path, keeps us on track. And being in this world, where it be our jobs, family, different situations that arise, you can kind of lose sight of things for a bit, because if you overly consumed in these things, that's why these scriptures have instructions for us to follow, man. They realign us, okay? They, like I said, get us back on track, okay? And also to remind us, hey, this, afflictions, going through trials, tribulations, it's a part of the walk, man, okay? As much as, it sucks and it's not supposed to feel good. It's supposed to suck, okay? Or this is not living. This current situation that we're in, okay? Even if you a brother that may be doing well, so to speak, okay? This ain't living, man, okay? We're not in rulership. We're not in power, okay? Okay, we got, you got family members passing away, family members getting sick. You got brothers getting sick, certain brothers have passed on, okay? We looking for that world to come, immortality, man, and we hope to be of that election, man, because that's ultimately, at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. That's who's going to make it, okay? Now, I'm going into this because, despite all these things, we have to fight, not allow these situations and these trials to make us become bitter, okay? Which, it's easier said than done, There's a lot of times, things, you might have had a plan and that plan didn't, wherever that plan was, it didn't fall through for you, because of a trial that you had to go through, and that trial may have set you back for a bit, which really, it's not a setback. Really, that the scriptures say, man, the man's going, so of the Lord, how can a man understand his own way? Really, it all goes back to the will of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, man. If that plan didn't fall through, it's because the Lord didn't want that plan to fall through, And see, being in the world, and that's that flesh, man. That flesh wanting to, wanting that pleasure, or whatever that thing is, But the Lord knows our heart. The Lord knows what will take us out of this word, and the Lord knows what would keep us focused, man. But I'm not going to ramble on any further. It's like, I know, kind of long-winded, but I'm just wanting to get the point across, So I'm just going to get right into it, and I pray this is edifying. So the first scripture I'm going to start with is Matthew chapter 7, verse 13. It says, enter ye in at the straight gate, for wide is the gate and broad is the way that leadeth to destruction. Right, and the word straight means difficulty. So this is a difficult journey that we're on, okay? It's difficult because of the standard that we have to live by, man, okay? See, in the world, you know, we didn't have a standard, okay? So we were just out there, you know. We didn't have a navigational tool. We didn't have a guide on how we supposed to live out here. So we was basically just lost, man. We were lost in the sauce, okay? Now that we've been returned to the truth, now we have a standard. Now we have boundaries that we're not supposed to cross, okay? There's a road, which is the straight gate, that we have to travel, man, okay? And we have to go whether the Lord will send us, man. So if we have to endure a trial, you know, whether it be financial, okay, whether it be your living situation, okay, even with dealing with a brother, you know, or brothers, right? Whatever that trial may be, okay, we have to endure those things, okay? Because at the end of the day, you know, that's what comes with this walk. When you read Sirach, the 2nd chapter in the Apocrypha, okay, it tells us that, man, to constantly endure, to prepare our hearts for temptation, man, okay? It says, and broad is the way that leadeth to destruction, right? The broad way, that's going to lead to destruction. And it's broad because, see, the majority of people are on that broad way. You know, people, they can do what, people thinking they can live how they want to live, do whatever they want to do, and think there's no consequences to their actions, man. You know, this world is very deceitful, man. You know, this world has these people believing that, you know, they have free will, okay? They really believe that, man. These people really believe that they control their own so-called destiny, man, okay? And you see, the Lord is, that's why the Lord has it to where a lot of these people get put to death, man. You know, you have people that have that mind frame that, you know, they're full in control of their life, and the Lord had them get put to death in a very gruesome way, just to show that, you know, that you're not in control, man. Okay, the Lord is always reminding people on this earth that you know, there's no such thing as free will, okay? You people out here that have that mindset, okay, you're going to find, the ones of you that's still in that mindset, you're going to find out, you know, whether when all hell breaks loose or before that, the Lord's going to show you, man, okay? And see, us brothers in the truth, we understand the judgments of Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushua, man. We understand that, you know, when things, so-called bad things happen to certain people, even with us, you know, it's all from the Lord, man. Okay, because the Lord, you know, the Lord, he's about mercy, but he's also about judgment, man. Okay, but even then, you know, even when these things do happen upon us, we go through bad times. Evil comes upon us. Okay, we got to remember our, you know, the examples in the scriptures, our forefathers, such as, you know, Job. Okay, Job, he had to be tested, man, through trial and tribulation, man. Okay, you know, Yahweh Shai, he's the prime example, man. Okay, you know, so on and so forth. You know, many men of the Lord that had to deal with those things that tried their faith, you know, but they overcame it because the Lord gave them that spirit to overcome it. Okay, and that's what the elect has. Okay, it says Enter ye in at the straight gate, for wide is the gate, and broad is the way that leadeth to destruction, and many there be which go in thereat. Right, and many majority of the people, especially our people, that's really what it's about, the Israelites. Okay, majority of our people, they're in that broad way. Okay, they don't want to live by the standard of the Lord. You know, they don't want to put down the pork. They don't want to put down the all these different abominable foods. Okay, they don't want to stop being a murderer or an adulterer or adulteress. Okay, they don't want to put down these idols. Okay, they don't want to. They don't want to put away these lies, man. Okay, so they're going down that broad way. Okay, because the comfort, that illusion of comfort, that illusion of security. Okay, which they're getting ready. The Lord's getting ready to sweep that from underneath their feet in a very rude awakening, man. Majority of our people are about to get a very rude awakening, man. Okay, it says, because straight is the gate and narrow is the way which leadeth unto life. Right, and see, this is why we got this scripture puts everything in perspective. Okay, when we go through these trials, when we go through these straits, okay, these difficult times, we have to remember the scriptures such as this. Okay, this is what's going to lead to life, man. Okay, so when we going through, when you catching hell, it's not to destroy us, it's to keep us on that path to life, man, to everlasting life. Okay, so we can't allow the trials, tribulations, to get us in that bitter state, that we be overcome by the bitter state. Okay, because this ain't no strange thing that happened to us. We should expect to catch hell. First of all, the majority of these people in this earth, they're totally contrary to the Lord. So they find out that you a man of the Lord, you a brother out there that's teaching the scriptures. Okay, you might have co-workers that see you out there teaching. Okay, they may hear the things you say, what these people think are extreme. Okay, but the scriptures are, we coming out the Bible, man. We ain't talking about we gonna do physical harm to people, but these people out here, they're already offended by the Bible, period. Okay, why you think they got people called atheists? Those are people that don't even believe in no power. Okay, they don't believe in they don't believe in the Lord. Okay, so us just simply going out here and making our bodies a living sacrifice unto Yahweh Shem Shai. Okay, that's the narrow way. That's the narrow path. Okay. And majority of people, they don't want to go through that. They don't want to be ridiculed and mocked for the Lord's sake. Okay, because that's what happened. That's what we go through when people see us out there, in this, in our garments, and we bringing out the word. That's what they do. They mock us. They ridicule us. You got people that drive by us, our camp in particular. You got fucking assholes that drive by our camp. Okay, throwing shit at us. Okay, calling us a nigger and all this and that. But hey, that's part of the that comes with the territory, man. That comes with the job. All right. It says, because straight is the gate and narrow is the way which leadeth unto life, and few there be that find it. And that's nothing compared to what the ancient prophets went through. It's nothing. It's damn sure nowhere near what our Lord Yahushua had to go through. Okay, but time is coming though that these things are going to intensify. Okay, and if somebody, if we getting offended now, if we getting overcome with bitterness now, how are we going to be able to deal with the the great tribulation. How are we going to be able to deal with Jacob's trouble? You know, if we being overcome with bitterness now, when things haven't really gone, all hell hasn't really broken loose yet, man. You know, you still can go from city to city. You know, brothers still can go to another state and visit another camp. You know, brothers can still move around, so to speak. But that's going to be a time where, you know, we're not going to be able to do any of those things, man. You know, so these are things we always got to keep in mind. All right, it says, beware of false prophets which come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly they are ravening wolves. Right, you got a lot of guys out here that know that they're Israelites. Okay, they put on the garment. They go out there. They profess themselves to be men of the Lord. Okay, they got the whole look of being a Hebrew Israelite. You know, but inwardly, you know, they got their own agenda, man. Okay, they out there. They're not really sincere. They're not really genuine about this thing. Okay, they all about making merchandise of the people. Okay, everything is a gimmick. Okay, and they're pushing lies, man. Okay, which is misleading the sheep. Okay, it says, ye shall know them by their fruits. Do men gather grapes of thorns, or figs or of thistles? Even so, every good tree bringeth forth good fruit, but a corrupt tree bringeth forth evil fruit. You see that? And we see that, man. Okay, we see that among these different camps, even among Great Millstone, you know. But individuals that's not right, they get casted out, man. You know, because here, Great Millstone's talking about apostles, elders on down. You know, we're walking the straight gate. You know, we're walking that straight narrow way. Okay. You see these other camps, they're still in that broad way. You know, you see these guys in these camps. Some of them have long hair, some of them have lineups. Okay. You know, every time they do a video, they gotta put the hip hop music. You know, do hip hop music videos and whatnot. Okay. Do all this worldly shit that ain't got nothing to do with teaching our people or warning our people of what's to come, man. Okay, so those are corrupt trees, man, that's bringing forth evil fruit. Okay, it says a good tree cannot bring forth evil fruit, neither can a corrupt tree bring forth good fruit. Every tree that bringeth not forth good fruit is hewn down and cast into the fire. Wherefore by their fruits ye shall know them. Right, and those examples I gave you, you know who's really about this word and who's not, man. Okay, you know, you see these guys with these startup camps. You know, these guys out there teaching with their heads covered. Okay, they all gotta have this big fancy intro to their videos. You know, it's not about edifying the people. It's all about them trying to make a name for themselves and making money, man, making merchandise of the people. Okay, and we don't want to be. And see, that's that example of that broad way. You know, because Jake don't want to be looked at in a certain light. They want to be accepted of the world, so they got to put on these gimmicks, okay, and follow certain trends, so the world can, you know, so they can have the approval of the world, man. And we ain't looking for that. We're not supposed to be seeking for the approval of the world. We're supposed to be seeking the approval of Yahweh Hashem Yahushua. All right, it says, not everyone that saith unto me, Lord, Lord, shall enter into the kingdom of heaven, but he that doeth the will of the Father which is in heaven. But he that doeth the will of my Father which is in heaven. Slakia. And see, and that's it. That's what it's all about. It's about doing the will of the Lord. Okay, and the Lord said, now everybody that's says Lord, Lord is gonna make it, man. You know, you don't have guys that was out there teaching. Okay, they may have been teaching in the name of the Lord. You know, but for every reason, then the Lord is not gonna accept him, man. He's going to reject them. Okay? So if you got the name of the Lord, but if your spirit ain't right, the Lord is going to reject you still. Okay? All right, it says, many will say to me in that day, Lord, Lord, have we not prophesied in thy name? And in thy name have cast out devils? And in thy name done many wonderful works? Yeah, that's what they're going to come. They're going to come and make that argument. All right. It says, and then will I profess unto them, I never knew you. Depart from me, ye that work iniquity. You see that? So those that work iniquity, okay, they profess themselves to be men of the Lord, but they really out there with their own agenda, you know, like I said, making merchandise of the people, or you just plain wicked. Okay, the Lord is going to reject those individuals. Okay. It says, therefore, whosoever heareth these sayings of mine and doeth them, I will liken him unto a wise man which built his house upon a rock. Right, and that, see, and this is the foundation. Okay, which our foundation, the foundation is Yahweh Shai. Okay, so wherever tribulation, okay, because offenses are going to come. Okay, there's going to be things that's going to come our way that can potentially become a stumbling block, you know, if you let it, you know. But ultimately, it's the Lord. The Lord is in control. You know, the Lord is the one. It's not of us. It's nothing that we do, you know, to keep going. The Lord got to give you that spirit to continue. Okay. Ultimately, at the end of the day, you know. But these are the things that, you know, we have to tell, you know, to push upon one another, to keep our faith strong, you know, strengthen one another. Okay, so those, like the Yahweh Shai just said, those that do his sayings, hear him and do them, not just hear him but do them. All right, he said that's a wise man, right? It says, and the rain descended and the floods came and the winds blew and beat upon that house. Right, and that's a representation. That rain, those winds, those floods, those are representations, spiritual representations of trials and tribulations. Okay, that's obstacles that's going to come your way being in the faith, that's going to try you, that's going to look. The Lord uses these things to prove our faith, to see how faithful we really are, man. And that's how the Lord is. The Lord to put hell on you. Yeah, it'll seem like it's out of left field, but the Lord is doing that to see, just to test how faithful you are, man. Are you a faithful servant? Are you gonna allow a little tribulation, a little hell, separate you from the Lord, man? Okay. Because the Lord is doing that with us, man. We have to remember that, man. You know, sometimes that flesh will have you, that flesh will deceive your ass, man. You know, your mind will start playing tricks on you, man. You know, and you forget what the scriptures say, man. When you forget what the scriptures say, you're gonna look at all the tribulation. You're gonna be saying, man, why am I going through? You sure already know why we going through these things, man. Okay. But see, when you're not in the scriptures, when you constantly, in this world, you putting the scriptures on hold, you putting the truth on the back burner, you're gonna lose that spiritual insight, man. That's why it's very, very imperative to stay in these scriptures, man. All right. It says that's how you continue to stay upon that rock, man. When you build that house upon that rock, that's the goal. That's studying, praying, fasting, These are the things that's gonna keep our spirit upkeep. Okay, you gotta do that spiritual upkeep, man. Just like how brothers lately been going into working out, keeping your body in a good state as best as you can. You gotta do that spiritually as well, man. Staying in great in good spiritual shape, so to speak. All right. It says, and the rain descended and the floods came And the winds blew and beat upon that house, and it fell not, for it was founded upon a rock. And everyone that heareth these sayings of mine and doeth them not shall be likened unto a foolish man which built his house upon the sand. Right. And see, when like it just said, when those floods, those winds, those that rain came, the one that built that house upon that rock, those trials or tribulations wasn't able to shake that individual's faith, man. Okay, those obstacles, those things, those difficult things that came that individual's way, they was able to withstand those things because they were built upon that rock, which once again is Yahweh Shai, man. Okay, when you found it upon the Lord, when you found it upon with the words of Yahweh Shai, nothing is going to be able to cause you to fall. Okay, it says, and everyone that hear these sayings of mine and doeth them not shall be likened unto a foolish man which built his house upon the sand. Right. And those that don't, they hear these sayings, but they don't do them, because once again, it's all about doing. Right. Those are the foolish. Okay. That's the one that, when all the hell come, tribulation, that's the guy that's perplexed. He doesn't understand why all these things are happening. He's lost that spiritual discernment, lost that spiritual sight. Okay, that's when somebody that is the spirit is left a certain individual, man. Because things that they we would be aware of, those things start to slip. Okay, that's a very scariest place to be, man. So when we go through our hell, of course, in the present moment, it doesn't feel good. We don't like, no one likes catching hell, man. No one likes to go through trials and tribulations, but you know what, that is necessary, especially in the times that we're coming into, man. Okay, because like I said, if we can't deal with the little trials, and these are small trials, compared to what's coming, if we can't deal with these small trials, how the hell are we gonna be able to deal with the Jacob's trouble, man? The day of the Lord, how are we gonna be able to get through those times, man? Ultimately, we know the Lord's gonna get us through that time, but the Lord gotta be with you, man. The Lord gotta give you that sound mind. The Lord gotta give you a sound mind, man, because that's what it all boils down to. That's where it all starts. It starts with the mind, man. Okay, and like I said, this mind deceive you, man. You lean upon your own understanding. That's gonna be a detriment, man. That's why these scriptures are here for us, man. All right. It says, and the rain descended, and the floods came, and the winds blew and beat upon that house, and it fell, and great was the fall of it. You see that? So all those trials come that individual's way, that individual that didn't build his house upon that rock. Okay. That individual fell, fell out the truth. Okay, because Yahushua gave that parable in Matthew the 13th chapter about the sower of the seeds. Okay, you have some seeds that fell by the wayside. You got some seeds that fell, in the ground that didn't have deepness, and it had no root. They wasn't rooted. And then you had some that fell among thorns. Okay. And then you got some that fell on good ground, and Lord willing, we are the ones that fall upon the good ground. Okay. So that's pretty much it. Like I said, just quick to the point. I pray this was edifying to you, sincere brethren, as well as you few sisters out there. Stay strong, keep fighting. We're almost out of here. So with that, I'm gonna give all glory and praises to Yahweh Ba'Shem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'Shem HaKodash, the honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, honors and salutations to the hopeful elect, pushing his word in truth and sincerity. Shalom.